This is how I created this visual effect sequence after 2 years of studying in Norway. Running into my 3rd years of studies, I started developing this project. The task was open-ended and we can do basically whatever we wanted. First thing was to gather a lot of references, starting with a lot of suit design concepts from Midjourney, and then moving over to some more shot-specific references. I later moved over to making a previs for the whole sequence, getting a better idea for the kinds of shots I wanted to do. After a lot of testing and back and forth, I figured the best solution was to have an actual helmet on the actor, giving the most natural movements, shadows, and being super valuable for tracking. I got good help modifying the helmet as well, using some EVA foam and painting it white to match as best as possible with the CG model. I also wanted these kind of inside lights that you often see in sci-fi movies. There's not really much sense in putting them there, but they kind of look cool. I also really wanted to have as much as possible on set. I found an old gaming chair and some old roof plates. This made it so I could keep what's closest to camera and plate and focus on having a detailed suit model. It was quite hard to plan for making what we had on set and in CG marry seamlessly together. I knew that if this was not planned well, things would not work out. I got good help from Dennis and Bruno for helmet modeling and corridor layout. I made scans of both the corridor and the helmet with my iPhone and sent it over to them so they can use it when modeling so that the CG and real life would be in the right proportions. For the suit model I was still on my own. I wasn't able to find any models that I liked online, so I knew I had to do something myself. With my very little modeling knowledge, I bought a base suit model that I could build off of and a kit passion kit. This took a lot of time going back and forth to textures, adding, removing and altering every small little detail. At a certain point I had to call them all finished, do the UVs properly and rely the rest on texture, which thankfully I was more confident on. Having the previs of shots already made this process a lot easier, as I knew where to put in my efforts in regard to details. I also had to rig the suit using advanced skeleton in Maya, which did not turn out super good, but it somewhat worked. I got my friend Theodor involved as a photographer quite early on, which was super helpful. He helped me establish a more natural lighting approach and took me a bit away from a stylized AI reference, which was good for concepts but not so much for filming the actual look and lighting. We both loaded some shots from the movie underwater, and it became one of our main references for lighting. The shoot day came up and I felt like I've done everything in my power to make this good. Things took time, but the shoot finished successfully and as planned, with a patient Amanda in the gaming chair doing such a great job in the performance. We had a lot of tracking markers on walls and on stands to make sure we would capture the right parallax and camera movement. It was also important for tracking to get a proper set scan of the set. There were quite a few problems that I thankfully somewhat solved in pre-production R&D to comfortably do the shoot. I needed to solve the helmet to work in all axes, and I needed it to move from the right origin to make sure it would work with the rest of the suit rig. I got the tips to use the free Solver plugin for Maya, which lets me take 2D points from synthesize, project it onto the frame-aligned geometry and solve straight onto the rig. This was a game changer for me. Having a perfect scan of the helmet, the process was pretty flawless. The helmet was now tracked to the face, and I had animated the rest of the suit to Amanda's performance. Having a reference camera for this whole workflow is also very beneficial. Lighting went pretty straightforward, setting up the lights in H2Rise in Maya, using the scan as guidance, then moving over to matching the chrome gray balls. The compositing was something I was really looking forward to, starting with a bunch of prep, including roto ink cleanup. Here's the kind of setup I made for animating all the lights. It's basically just linking a bunch of paint brushes to different no-op nodes to have better control of the animation curves.
Is gone.